there, and welcome to my channel. My name's Crafty Kathy, and I'm so happy and thankful that you stopped in to craft and spend a little time with me today. We're going to be working on some beautiful projects using the transfers from the Dollar Tree. So let's get to crafting. We're going to start off with some Carnival Red DIY paint in this beautiful little chunky mushroom that I found at the Dollar Tree. Now this is in the $1.25 section, and I have some way missed this one out of all of the little chunky wood pieces that have came out in the past few years. Well, I know I'm a late bloomer, but I'm just now really getting into mushrooms, and that's what I'm going to be doing my living room in. So I decided to give this a quick coat of the red. Now, I didn't want this to have a very stark, bright red, and as you see, this is very stark and bright. So I'll show you what I did to kind of calm it down just a little bit. But first I went ahead and I only painted it one coat. I also made sure to go down the sides because you're definitely going to see those. We're just going to use this as if it's like a standing piece. And so we definitely want to make sure we get those sides covered also. Now DIY paint is clay base and it has to be sealed. I haven't sealed this yet, so what I'm going to do is just take a baby wipe because this is the perfect paint to wet distress with. And with me doing this with this baby wipe, it's almost like turning that Carnival red color into a red stain. And that's how I decided to kind of knock that brightness down a little bit. And I like the way that that looks whenever you wet distress because it'll leave some spots in there a little bit brighter red and some deeper red, which actually looks like a real mushroom. Next, I grabbed faded burlap. In my opinion, that is the perfect color for the stem of the mushroom. It's not going to take very much at all of this, so I put just a little bit there on the bottom, and I'm going to make sure to cover the sides also like I did with the red. Now when I got closer up to the top where the red and the brown are going to meet, I swapped my paintbrush because I thought that it would look more realistic to kind of fade those two into each other instead of having like a straight red line just going across. I just feel like that makes it look cartoony. Now I'm going to grab my DIY paint in the color Crinoline. It's just a beautiful creamy beige color and this small little dabber from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to kind of dry brush little spots all over this. And if you're not sure what dry brushing means, that just means where you have most of the paint off of your brush or your little dauber, whatever you're using, to where you have very, very little bit on there. And with this being round, it makes the perfect cute little dots for a mushroom. I also made sure to make some of my little dots just kind of halfway on the sides of the mushroom because that just ties it all in. And is this not the cutest little mushroom you've ever seen? I took one of those metallic paint pens from Dollar Tree, and really it's just a white pen. I'm not sure why they call it metallic, but I just kind of accentuated the dots a little bit more, and I felt like adding that white with the cream color gave it a nice little contrast. I have this blending sponge that has some brown wax that's been left in it from who knows when, I guess the last time that I crafted. And I'm just going around and kind of blending in the edges because I think that when you shade those edges in like that, it just really makes it three-dimensional and makes it pop. And that's what really tied it all in together. I have so many packs of Dollar Tree transfers that I've picked up over the years, and I really wanted to put a word on this. And I love this one that is nothing but words. And I really liked where it said adventure. For some reason, that just spoke to me. I liked the font on it, and I thought that it would match perfectly with this little mushroom. So I'm just going to cut it out. And I'm going to show you how easy these Dollar Tree transfers are to put on. Now these transfers are no different than the IOD and the others that you've seen me use over the years. You just pull that little backing strip off, lay it down where you want it to go, and you're going to scratch the word off. You can either use a special little tool or like a credit card. You guys that watch me know that my mode of of putting these things on is usually with my fingernail, especially when it's something small like this. I just find it so much easier, and I can get really detailed with that fingernail to get it exactly where I want it to go. Then you're just going to slowly peel that top sheet away, and your word or your image is going to be on there. And it's such an easy way to elevate any DIY project. I had plans on using one of these butterflies to go on my mushroom, but then I found this little bird sticker, and I had forgot that I had these things. I ordered these off of Temu back way before even our fall project started, so I've had these for quite a while. I just laid it down, and at first I thought it was a transfer. I don't know why I was thinking that. But when I realized that it was indeed a sticker, I was kind of upset. Now, I don't usually use stickers in my DIYs because I don't like that clear outline that goes around the image. It just screams, hey, I'm a sticker. But usually the way that I can combat that is by covering it with matte Mod Podge. Now, I didn't have any matte Mod Podge, but I did have satin, and I had to seal my DIY paint anyway, so that was my very last step, is to cover this with the Mod Podge, and I hope you like it. For DIY number 2, the other day I got this wood round at the Dollar General, and I only paid 30 cents for it. Right now their Christmas stuff is 70% off, and my store is a smaller store that doesn't have as much traffic, so I can always find good stuff there. Now I'm going to use the color Faded Burlap, and I'm going to go ahead and give this piece 2 full coats. But first I did sand over that area that had a little bit of glitter at the bottom. I got this wood piece at the Hobby Lobby, and of course I always pay half off. It's normally $1.49, so I roughly paid 75 cents for it. And I have had this thing for like 2 years and just been waiting for the right moment to use it. Well, today's the day, and we're going to grab DIY paint in the color Aviary. I wanted a really pretty muted green, and it's the perfect green, and I just gave it 1 coat because I wanted it to be very light. I just wanted to stop and take a second to say thank each and every one of y'all for stopping in and crafting with me today. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't joined our family yet. I have a lot of new content that's coming out, and I don't want you to miss it. And if you would, please hit the like button, because that tells the algorithm that you're enjoying my video, and they'll push my stuff out there to people who've never seen me before, and it will really help my channel out. Now here, I'm just drying that aviary paint. I always like to show you guys how right before your eyes it just gets lighter, and this paint is so beautiful. There's just something about the look of that clay paint that no other paint can match. And if you ever want to try out their paint, by the way, my friend Lori over at Milton's Daughter sells it in her store, and I'll leave her information down below and in the comment section so that she's always easy to find. I'm going to take my little hand sander and just kind of go around the edges of this piece, because I just kind of like that rustic look that it gives. I like that look, like it's been around for a while. Kind of like me. Now I'm going to grab one of the prettiest of all these transfers that I have. This is the one that came out, I think, about 2 years ago in the spring, and it's so beautiful. I love all the wording on it, and I love those beautiful flowers. Now that's the first thing that I'm going to go for, is those flowers. You just kind of have to fussy cut around it if you don't want any of the wording to show up, when you put this on your project. So just be careful and mindful of that. But if you don't mind for a little bit of the wording to show, then it doesn't matter. There are some times when I don't care for it to show, and then other times when I want to be a little bit more precise. But here I didn't really care too much. I kind of cut this whole transfer into smaller pieces because I'm going to be using almost the whole thing on this one project. When I had all the pieces that I'm going to use cut out, I just pulled off those backing sheets and pretty much just went to town. Everything on this one transfer sheet is just so beautiful. You can't go wrong with anything that you choose. Or if you do like me and just use kind of the whole thing. I'm going to put that little bicycle down on the bottom. I want it to be kind of a main focus. And then I'm put just like a little butterfly here and there. There's 2 butterflies on this transfer. I'm using both of them. And then I'm also going to use both of the flowers that are on there too. I made sure to start off at the bottom and put my pieces down there. And then I'm going to move up toward the top and put those pieces on. Now I have not put that word create. I have not attached it to the board yet, and I did that on purpose because I wanted to make sure that it's going to look right where I'm going to put it at. So I just went through and put everything down where I wanted it to go. I remembered the most perfect piece that I had on this one set of transfers. The whole thing is like feathers. And I really liked it because it reminded me of like an Indian headdress. And I thought that would look so perfect with this whole piece. And I'm just going to let you guys know right now, do not buy this transfer. This is one of the ones that I was talking about when I said most of their transfers are great. But I have noticed from my own personal usage of their transfers, the ones that are like gold, or like full, they just don't do it for me. I don't know what the problem is, but they don't stick very well, and they have the biggest trouble adhering to things. If I were you, I wouldn't even waste my $1.25. But at this moment, I didn't know it, so I'm trying to put this piece on over on the side. And it took me the longest time to try to get it down because it wasn't adhering. I'm telling you, I struggled and I fought with that thing for the longest time, and I did get most of the transfer to stick. But I just wasn't happy with the way that it turned out, and so I had to keep moving. I'm using the wood glue, and this is the one that comes from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just using a few little spots of hot glue too. That way it can hold on to my piece right now until that wood glue can set up. Now, be very careful not to let those 2 glues touch each other. And then there was a few areas where I got some glue smudges, and I just went through with a clean brush and brushed them out. And then I thought I was finished until I saw these buttons, and I thought, oh my goodness, these have to go on this piece, because if any of you guys have watched my channel over the past few years, y'all know that I love to accent my stuff with buttons. I think it's very pretty. It's a very cheap way to do your crafting, and it's always beautiful. And so I just added a couple of these little buttons here and there all over my little wood round. And at this point, I had more than enough transfers on this thing, but I felt like that one little spot under the R and the E was kind of naked. So I thought that I would just find one more small piece that would just kind of go with this, and I added one more piece. Then the very last step that I added to this was to grab my little blending brush or blending sponge and just kind of go around the piece to give it that 3-dimensional look. And I think this turned out so cute. This is going to be so sweet on the front of my craft room door.
She thinks I'm a little lazy. I think she's a little crazy. We like summer and we like spring. Watching wrestling in the ring. She ain't shy, she speaks her mind. Tough as nails and smooth as wine.
All of these have been really short and easy, and this one really is. I found this piece at the Dollar General the other day for just $1.50, and I got that word Season's Greetings off with just some acetone. I just rubbed it off on there. And on this one, we're going to use the transfer that has all the French writing on it. It's just very shabby chic looking to me, and it's very nice and a perfect addition right here at Valentine's Day. When I first started cutting these pieces down, I thought that I was going to use several different pieces, but the space only permitted me to use one larger piece that I had. I ended up using this one that had the big butterfly on it because that was my favorite piece from this whole transfer, and I'm going to show you how I put this piece on. Now, I'm going to be the first to tell you that it's always best to cut your transfers down. Make them as small as you can. Like, see that area up at the top that says Je t'aime, I love you, is what it stands for. If I would have just cut that piece off, it would have been much simpler to put that on by itself, but I didn't, and I did it the lazy way. So what I did was just only allow that bottom piece down there where the butterfly is to stick to the can. And that's what I put on first. If I would have just stuck the whole piece on, I'm running the risk of getting my transfer to kind of pop off here and there whenever I'm going over it. It's really hard to explain. So just take my word for it and cut your pieces down and make them smaller. But this is short and sweet, and it turned out so cute.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left.
Now this one is perfect for Valentine's Day that's coming up really soon, or just everyday romantic decor. Now our last one, like the others, is short and sweet. This is a tiny little cutting board that I found at Aldi a few years ago, and you can see I had already put a transfer on it. So the way that I try to get my transfers off is by just lightly sanding them, and it gives just enough to where I can paint over it. The only part that I'm going to paint over is this middle section that has the little outline around it. And I'm just going to use the color crinoline, and I ended up putting 2 coats over it. We're going to use this transfer that has the pretty eucalyptus on it. I'm going to cut out the piece that's right in the very center. I'm also going to use one of those inspirational words that's on the sheet that I really like. I'm going to start off by placing this large piece of eucalyptus right smack dab in the middle of the sheet. And I'm going to do just like I've always done before and go over it with my little rubbing tool. I always find that it kind of helps to hold the edge of mine up, because once that transfer gets stuck onto your project, it just kind of goes off in like a wave or something. It's hard to explain, but once you start doing transfers, you'll totally understand what I mean. I chose the word dream because I felt that it was just very fitting, and I placed it right in the center of my little wreath. I used the edge of my scissors to get down in the cracks because there was a few edges that was really rough there, and then I went around it with my shading brush. And the very last thing that I did was take my little sandpaper and very, very lightly scratch over it so that I can give it that old worn look. I hope you like this piece, and stick around for just a moment more so you can see how much Frida Fantasia has improved. Remember, she was paralyzed, and I brought her back with my love. Don't forget to hit the like button, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.
Hey Frida, can you tell everybody hi? Can you tell everybody hi? Oh, all they can see is your big bushy head. That's all they can see. Is your big smooshy bushy head. Can you please show them your face? Show them your face. Show them your pretty face. Oh, look at her. Just look at her. Mama going. She's so pretty. She's so pretty, and her feet are perfect. this sexy little girl every day of her life. 'Cause Mama healed her with her love, and there will be no more strife. I love you. I love you, Frida. I love you, Frida.
You gotta go up though, because you pooped in my floor.
And you pissed me off.
Isn't it pretty?
It's so pretty, Toffee's peeing on the tire. That's all he's worried about. He's gotta release it. He said, now got yellow snow. Oh, look at the swimming pool. It's all caved in.
The top is. It's like going down. I hope it holds it. It's one of those like trampoline looking tops. I gotta go check on my babies.
There goes Puff. Let's see if you can see the color. See on the side of him? It's there. It's like a blue-green. It's so pretty. You sexy, Puff. There's Retta. Oh, this is Willie and Conway. Hey, baby. She's one of the golden girls, and she is too. And then we got Fur Baby. That's Fro Baby. Yes, for obvious reasons. That's Fro Baby. And Puffy Puff. Yes, and that one's Willie. This one's Waylon. And where is... Okay, no, I'm sorry. That one's Waylon. Waylon has long feathers on his neck. That's Willie and Conway. Hey, Conway. Hey, Conway. That's Conway sweetie. Yes, it is. And these guys are getting a bluish color on them, too. I don't know if you can see right there toward the bottom of his back. He's getting a bluish color. Waylon's getting long feathers on his neck. Fro Baby's just throwing it up. And then Puff, look at Puff. Puff has just got my heart. I'm sorry. I need to feed him.
He looks like a big fat loaf of bread running around. Go, Tuffy! Go, Tuffy! Go, Tuffy, go! Go, Tuffy! Go, Tuffy, go! Roxy's getting excited too. The cat run up the steps. She's like, I don't want no part in this bull crap. We're in an animal house. We live out in the wild.